Welcome into the DNVR Fantasy Podcast. We are on Periscope, I'm told, so you know this is going to be a good one, Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Henry Chisholm, Andre Simone, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Nothing better in the world. Actually, producer Allie with fantasy-related type wagers, really becoming a mastermind in guessing first touchdown scores for teams. So we've got you covered. The Sportsbook has you covered. It's fantasy playoffs. I suffered the most brutal round one defeat I've ever suffered in fantasy. I mean, not even close. 0.15 points got me. 169.65 was my score. 169.80 was my opponent's score. I went all in on this season. I sacrificed a future first-round pick. I have nothing to show for it. The first two highest-scoring teams get in the money from the regular season. I'm the third highest-scoring team.
Wow.
Everything is horrible in that league.
It's a decimal league, too. Like that right there, that could have changed everything because a lot of leagues don't even do the decimal points.
Right. Had we gone to a tiebreaker, who knows? Maybe I'm salvaged by the fact that I was the higher scoring team throughout the season. Or who knows? Maybe I'm salvaged by the fact that my bench outscored his bench by like 50 points. And yet, all of this could have been avoided so easily if I just took your advice from the last show, where I think within the last 5 minutes, I asked you, I said, Henry, Noah Fant, Tyler Higbee, steer me the right way. It's important. I went all in on this league. What did you say?
I said, don't take Noah Fant. He's done nothing. And what did he do, Dre? What did he do?
He did nothing.
He did not catch a pass.
He did nothing. No.
Zeros in a game where you lost by 0.15. And if you would have just listened to me, you would have won. Here's the flip side, though. I asked you for advice, and I followed your advice, and I picked up my second win of the season, gets me out of the losers bracket, and I avoided punishment. And sometimes, I realized pretty quickly that things weren't going my way in that league, and was kind of holding out hope for the last 5, 6, 7 weeks that I would just get one win in this losers bracket, and I did it, and now I don't have to worry about it.
Love to hear that because, again, we remind our listeners who maybe forgot how high the stakes were for Henry this week. You were going to have to do some physical exercise.
Yeah, like 20 pull-ups or something like that. I think more than that. I think it's actually like 100 pull-ups or something because it's meant for people who can do it. And that was just one piece. Yeah, I know.
Breaking news, you attempted a pull-up a year ago, could not do one.
Yeah, it's crazy you can pull that detail, though.
You can't
actually
do
listen
one?
to what I say. Well, I couldn't then. At this point, I bet I might be able to.
I can do at least 3.
Yeah, but you're like half my size.
3. I think I could get 1.5 in.
Dude.
And my arms are pathetic.
Is there anywhere we can do pull-ups in here?
We are told
Absolutely not.
There has to be something.
You are not breaking a pipe.
We are
okay,
told,
then let's not use the pipes. There has to be something.
Absolutely not. When we first were told no, I believed it. Absolutely not was a dangerous double down by producer Allie because that tells me that actually there are places we could, such as the pipes.
Yep.
But we are not to do that.
At some point today, I'm going to do a pull-up in this office.
It's a little potato we have going on here.
Prove her wrong.
Henry, lots to do. It's fantasy playoffs. We were right about a lot of things. I mean, like dating back to September, we are wrong about a lot of things. Those dating back to September as well. Before we get into what we were wrong about, let's take a victory lap on our best takes from a week ago. Winner's lap.
Oh, yeah.
Winner's lap.
I
called it
phrases right.
I called it a victory lap. Get my phrases right is correct. Henry, start us off. Winner's lap. What you got? What'd you get right this week?
So here's a good one.
Yeah.
Was really high on Cam Akers last week.
Booyah.
Kept Cam Akers in my starts famously for the tailgate on Sunday, which was after the Thursday night game, so that was a bad look.
Classic.
But I was still right about Cam Akers from before when we said that this was backfield. Also, everything we said about this being Jonathan Taylor's backfield, that was all right. He has taken that job over, and he looks spectacular.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I feel like that's enough of winner's lap.
Wow. Conservative winner's lap, but I like it. Not patting yourself on the back.
I don't like that part
too much. That's what makes you great. Your self-deprecating humor. If you were to exalt your successes too much, That would be anticlimactic for you.
Max is here in the comments. He's saying, that's a tough L, Dre. And he said, I have a pull-up bar y'all can borrow.
No way. Well, we haven't figured out.
Nice. And then Henry, J.K. Dobbins, another running back that I think finally proving us right. In the long term, my sits is where I really am going to take a winner's lap here. Sit Eric Ebron Cha-ching, very correct. I don't know why people were ranking him in the top 10 tight ends. I'm not sure he ended up in the top 20 in full PPRs.
If he would have just held on to a couple of balls, though, but I mean, that is what you said, is that he drops too many passes and you shouldn't play him. But that's why people would play him, is because they look and they see, 7 targets. He won't come away with 3 receptions again. But no, this drops.
Constantly.
You have to expect it at this point.
And then
That's who he
Deontay
is.
Johnson's doing the same thing.
Ugh.
If you chase Claypool, yuck.
Well, Marquise Brown last night. Ugh. I don't care how fast you are if you can't catch a football.
Not good. I said in bets last night, liked Rashard Higgins to get more receiving yards than Hollywood Brown. A bit of a Hollywood derby, since that's both of their nicknames. Rashard proved me right.
He played well.
Marquise Brown led the way for that eventual cover in what was an all-time delightful Monday night. Also,
Rashard Higgins is the reason that game ended. It's not like they were doing great with hook and ladder, the thing that happens at the end of the games.
Yeah.
But once Rashard Higgins got that ball, he was lost. He was running backwards, which you just can't do, because that's how you make sure there's nobody behind you. Yeah. I mean, he was the one who screwed that up, and they probably weren't going to score anyway. But points, it did feel like there was a little bit of momentum on that play, and they were able to make it all last 30 seconds before Rashard Higgins just flushed it all down the toilet by not understanding how that play works.
In that situation, I almost won. Everyone does the hook and ladder. That's the desperation play. I believe you could attempt like a quarterback punt, gun forward, try to touch it that way, right? And keep the ball alive there. We're going to look into that.
Interesting.
So
Rashard Higgins is stuck, so he punts the ball. And everybody runs downfield.
Drop kick?
You just have to hope it hits somebody?
Gotta hope it hits someone.
Interesting.
But at that point, everyone's spread out so much. Anything is possible.
It's true.
Sticking with that game,
it
though,
is true.
Jarvis Landry, I said sit him, was totally correct on that. I thought in general, Baker and the Browns' passing offense wouldn't be good. I'll eat some crow on that in a second. J.K. Dobbins, though, I mentioned that. I was correct on that. Sit Kyler Murray outside of the top 12. So I will take a victory lap on that. And then I like T.Y. Hilton. So that all worked out. Now it's time to eat some crow. Big old platter of crow. Some Dirty Bird. Staying in line with the Ravens here, even though that's not a crow. Henry, eat some crow for us, will you? Where'd you go wrong this week?
I'm not going to lie. It's going to be pretty tough.
Because you had so many great calls.
Exactly. Like, I'm still just checking on some of these guys, like Mitchell Trubisky. He didn't put up big numbers. I put up 25. There, I could eat a little bit of crow there.
Good week by Mitch.
I said bench Mitchell Trubisky. He put up 25 points.
Good week by Mitch.
Let me just see where that ranks real quick. Week 14.
It's up there.
Go.
It's
25.
Up there,
yep, that made him quarterback 7. So
that call by you.
I was wrong.
Max says that he sat Kyler Murray, started Lamar Jackson, won me my fantasy matchup.
Nice.
Yes, Max. Yes.
Listen to us.
That is what I love to hear. I went so wrong on Corey Davis this week. Thought A.J. Brown was still going to be banged up. Corey Davis was going to be the guy. Completely wrong. Bizarro world scenario there occurred. A.J. Brown, he is amazing. I love him. Michael Pittman, thought it was going to be a big day for the Colts wide receivers. It was. They put up 42 points. I said in a pinch, start Phillip Rivers. Stuff like that was correct. Pittman, though, did not show up. Very
he made a couple plays.
Made a couple points. Not enough for me to put him in my starts, certainly. Justin Jefferson. I'm so high on Justin Jefferson. Honestly, it almost was cheating putting him in my starts because he's been so productive. Wrong again. Not a great game by him.
See, and those are the tough ones.
Those are the tough ones.
When you take the easy way and say, start Justin Jefferson, and then he does what he does, that's where you get embarrassed.
Very disappointing.
I can't remember who did that to me like 4 or 5 weeks ago, but I've been avoiding those guys now.
Good call by you.
Yep.
And then, I mentioned Baker earlier. I thought the Ravens D would hold up certainly better than that. That was like watching a 7-on-7 game with very bad secondaries. So there you go. There is our winner's lap, eat crow. It's time to look forward, Henry. That's our mentality in fantasy and in life. We are always looking ahead like any good football coach would. Where do you want to start, my friend? Buy or sell, or would you rathers?
Let's start with your buy and sell.
Ooh, okay. Look at that graphic. That one's my favorite. That one's my favorite. Love that one. In fact, I'm putting my feet up for this one.
Can you really tie a tie that well? That looks nice.
I used to be able to, first job out of college, wore a tie every single day that year. Haven't worn one since, have very much forgot how to do that. Yeah. In fact, you said like, oh, wow, how could you remember what the penance for my fantasy league would be? I was thinking to myself, yeah, that is pretty amazing considering I can't remember things like my mother's birthday or how to tie a tie anymore. Yeah.
You don't know your mom's birthday?
July 21st. I think that's it. But my father's birthday, that's the toughie. Sometimes
my grandma's birthday is July 24th, so could have like a combined birthday party if we wanted.
We should.
Or in Montana.
Mail out cards at the same time to different addresses. That's how we will make them happy. I hope they're both watching. Hi, Grandma. Hi, Mom. Okay, buy or sell. Buy or sell, where we establish a player stock at present is where their stock shall remain. Is we buy or we're selling, right? That's what we're doing. Okay, so we start with KJ Hamler in the Broncos. KJ Hamler, dynamic wide receiver, blows the top off the Panthers defense twice for 2 big touchdowns. Really nice game. You bind KJ's elevated role as the big play guy in this Broncos offense.
Here's my thing. I'm not touching KJ right now just because there isn't enough time left in the season. Like there is nothing he could do this week that would make me start him the next week, which would be the final week of the fantasy season.
Well, it could ring you around in the playoffs.
Yeah, but again, like I'm not starting him this week. Like there is nothing he can do this. Like I'm not starting him this week. There's nothing he can do to get me to start him the week after, and that means fantasy wise for this season at least, there's nothing there. But long term, I'm definitely buying KJ stock. I think that his numbers are lower than they should be to this point, given how well he's played. We finally saw him get hit on a couple of those deep balls, which is nice. And so long term, I am buying KJ stock. But I've been buying KJ stock all the way. So at this point, like I have plenty of good value from before this week.
I think that's the exact correct assessment. You are buying KJ Hamler. And by buying, you are buying that he is what we thought and what we expected him to be, which is stick him right into that Tyreek Hill, Marquise Brown, who are some of those other super boomer Will Fuller, the feast or famine wide receivers you start when you need to really roll the dice, but most weeks you're going to go with safer options and you'll be fine. He falls squarely in that. And you're right. He's obviously Tyreek Hill, the upper echelon elite tier of that. Will Fuller's kind of like top 15. Marquise Brown is barely startable. So KJ's on the lower end, but he's already established himself in that category. And if you're weak at wide receiver depth and you need to roll the dice, you might have the odds stacked against you one week. You could do worse than KJ, but you're right. This week against Buffalo is a wait-and-see mode. We'll see. Maybe in our fantasy football finals we can do that. Sticking locally, KJ, Rashard Higgins, another big week. I mean, that Browns offense, they slowed down in November because of all those bad weather games. Now they're back to looking like that explosive offense they were early in the year. Doesn't matter that Odell Beckham Jr. is out because, in large part, because Rashard Higgins is picking up that slack in a major way. Are you buying Hollywood Higgins to keep this up the rest of the year and be a sneaky start in the playoffs.
It's tough. 18.5 points, half-point PPR last week, just over 15, almost 16 this week.
Yep.
Before that, have been single digits for 4 straight games, and
Sure,
it's
because they
scary.
weren't scoring.
Yeah, very true. Going up against the Giants and the Jets, though, in these final 2 weeks, I think I am buying. I think that he is replacing OBJ in that offense and doing a decent job doing it. He isn't like my number 1 wide receiver 2 or anything like that, but I think for a lot of teams, he's a good start.
As far as fantasy pickups this week, you got to like them.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm trying to see I want to see the over-under on that Cleveland New York Giants game to see how score Las Vegas thinks this will be. 45.5. Okay. Yeah, that's about fair. Okay. Interesting.
Plus, right. I think most of that's going to be the Browns.
I'm buying.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the top waiver wire pickups this week if he's still available. And yeah, I'm buying. Great matchups. You really convinced me when you went to the schedule like that. Baker Mayfield. I think if you're buying Rashard Higgins, you are buying Baker as well.
I'm definitely buying Baker Mayfield.
I honestly kind of told you last week this was a guy I was targeting to pick up as my backup in a couple leagues, have him in one of my leagues where I'm still alive. And yeah, I like it. I think I'll be benching him this week against the Giants because I have Tannehill available in that one. But otherwise, I'd strongly consider him. So we agree on that. I'm not even going to dwell on that too long.
Baker's way up there, though. I would
way up there.
I mean, you could make the case to start him over just about anybody. If you don't love the Giants matchup, that's fair. But I mean, over the last 3 weeks, he's been quarterback 2 overall behind Aaron Rodgers. This week, he was quarterback 2 behind Lamar Jackson. I think that the way he's playing, he should be compared to a bunch of those top tier guys. And I would be willing to start him over a lot of them.
Good stuff from Hank here. Love this. Jonathan Taylor, you mentioned him earlier. I think we're buying him as well.
Definitely buying.
A little schedule look ahead?
Yeah, let's do it. He was running back 6, by the way, this week.
In full PPRs, running back 2.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Behind only Derrick Henry.
But 28.5 points this week, and that's in standard leagues. 19.5 the week before, 11.4 in standard leagues the week before that. Good
Coming
numbers,
along.
Trending up. He's getting all of the touches, the bulk of the touches at this point. And then he plays Houston this week.
Yes.
Gotta love that.
Love that.
Pittsburgh the week after, maybe a little scary, but I think they're going to feed him. I think that the game plan when you play the Steelers is to run the ball at him and just accept that it will be a low-scoring game. I think Jonathan Taylor gets a lot of work. I think that that's probably the most carries he gets all season.
Spot on. Lamar Jackson, we talked about this months out. You were a skeptic. I was a believer. We looked ahead at the schedule. We saw that we would have some high-scoring games. I don't think anyone expected Poopgate and for him to come back and, get you like an extra 8 points right there, 4th and 5, boom, took 2 seconds, and then tack on a couple bonus yards for you as well and have his best game of the season. I'm not mistaken on that, right?
No, that first 30-point game of the season for Lamar. I'm still
finally running a ton.
Yeah, I'm still where I was before, and that's that. If you have him, you have to start him.
Yep.
And if you start him, you're right to be just a little bit worried because if he doesn't get the running game going, he really doesn't provide all that much for you.
No,
and I think that that's kind of what we knew coming into it, but he's thrown for 200 yards 4 times this season. 2 of them were the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
And so it's scary. You are relying on the touchdowns. You're relying on the rushing yards. You don't really expect to have a huge passing week.
Pats and Steelers week 8 and 10, he did pass for over 200 yards. But you're right. He's done it.
Yep.
4 times this year. That's the stat you said. 4 times this year, but 2 of the 4 was okay, my bad.
Yep.
Gotta love that Jacksonville game. But now with the cramps and everything, that's the problem. He hasn't been practicing, so the lower body is not as sharp. And it's not just the Lamar problem. It's that offense problem.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's no passing game.
Yeah, there's
no passing game.
Not great options in the passing game either.
No, it's just kind of ugly, but he still is one of the 4 most valuable quarterbacks in the game because of the upside. Because even though this is the first time he went over 30 this season, he put up 34.9. Any week could be the 50-point game that it feels like he's due for. Going up against Jacksonville and New York, I think that is possible.
Yes, especially the beauty of Lamar, they are fighting for their playoff lives.
Yeah.
Have to get that 7th wild card. That's where they're at. So they'll be committed all along. By the way, that league we share that you haven't paid attention to since the draft.
Yeah, that one.
Lamar Jackson allowed us to kill Kentucky UDFA this week.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, we put up a 300 burger on him. Finally, we are going to go to the blessed city of brotherly love where producer Allie is proudly from. Where are you? And what a silly question when I have the utmost expert and believer in Jalen Hurts in the world sitting here next to me. But tell the people about the gospel of Jalen. You are buying Jalen Hurts.
I think I own all of Jalen Hurts at this point.
Stock.
Yeah. Yes. I'm
He doesn't own the person.
No, I do not. But yeah, like I've been buying Jalen Hurts stock since. Forever. Who has a college resume like Jalen Hurts, doing all the different things he did, the national championships, being able to change situations when everybody said, get him away from Bama. What is he? We don't know. Goes to Oklahoma, and it turns out he's much better. And he has this track record, and there are questions about the accuracy and that kind of stuff. Guess what? Lamar Jackson hasn't been accurate at all, and he's still been very valuable fantasy-wise. And I'm all the way in on Jalen Hurts. He ran the ball well. I don't know that you're going to keep getting, was it 18 carries for 108 yards, something like that?
18 for 106, very good.
I was locked in. But the passing needs to get better, and he's needing to grow into the offense. But he did just take down the number 1 seed in the NFC, and
best running defense in the NFL.
Yeah, and I'm fired up about it. I'm all in on Jalen Hurts. The man deserves so much more respect. He should not have been a second round pick.
Anyone having an ethical dilemma about Jalen too, because they're kind of doing Carson Wentz dirty? Jalen Hurts was done dirty back at Alabama in the national championship game where they put Tua in. So it's all reconnecting. The karma gods are coming back on Jalen's side. The Eagles' offense was completely different, so they were really running the ball with them.
The Eagles' offense had so much more life, and a lot of that was the play calling.
They needed it.
That Jalen was getting, which good for him. But I really like Jalen. I was happy with what I saw. But I still do like Carson Wentz. Maybe it's not on the Eagles, but the play calling was a lot different this Sunday than it has been for Carson Wentz, and that makes you question why that is.
I say because they can run the ball with Jalen Hurts. Carson gets injured so often. I think that impacts the game.
And people talk about Carson Wentz's athleticism, and then, that's some big plus attribute. But the truth is, in terms of NFL quarterbacks, he is dead in the middle of the pack.
He's pretty athletic for a guy that big, but he hasn't been 100% in forever.
But he's terrified of getting hurt.
Yeah.
You run through all the guys who can actually run.
Jalen did
and
run
all of a sudden,
lot.
you have 8 guys who are just running quarterbacks. And then you get into the other guys Carson Wentz, and it's he's pretty average when it comes to athleticism. Having a guy like Jalen Hurts just adds a whole nother dynamic. And to go back to the doing Carson Wentz dirty thing, Carson Wentz did himself dirty by sucking so much. He had his opportunity.
50 times.
So get rid of the ball.
His offensive
get rid of the ball.
His offensive line doesn't give him time.
Yeah, there are a lot of things going wrong.
There is a lot going on. But being sacked 50 times.
Going on. It's true.
And maybe the play calling was better, but it's Jalen Hurts. He's a real quarterback who can go win you games.
He played well enough to where he's going to keep playing the next couple weeks. You could do a lot better as a flyer on your bench than Jalen Hurts.
A lot worse?
Is a lot worse, especially in wacky leagues where you're getting points per carry.
So if you're in one of those, then you start him. If you're in one of those, then you definitely start him. To me, though, he's in that other tier of quarterbacks where
I get it.
The streamer tier. The guys where it's like...
Oh, yeah, certainly.
Max has a good question here about Hurts.
Yes.
He's saying scared for Hurts' durability with that many rushing attempts took a toll on Kyler towards the end of the season.
Long term, yes.
No, 100%.
But in terms of like just this week, the odds of it catching up to him right now seems slim.
But he was a little banged up even in that game.
True.
Where it was like, man, this is kind of savage. I hope he can survive this. What I love, though, about that offense, and yes, I did just go on my fantasy app and pick up Jalen Hurts in that league where there's a per carry. I talk it out with my guy. I got to talk it out with my guy. I got the approval. I jumped in. That's how we do things here. We get approval, we talk it out, and we do it. Miles Sanders, though, this change, monumental for Miles Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
You were despaired as a Miles Sanders owner. Now you might win your league because Miles has been a phenomenal running back all season. They just stopped feeding him. And when he gets even just 14 carries, 115 yards against the best run defense in the NFL, 2 touchdowns on the ground, adds 4 for 21. You love that in the PPR. I assume we're all buying Miles Sanders since you were buying the Eagles offense under Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. Yep. I'm buying Miles Sanders for sure.
Beautiful. Before we jump into what you came up for the Would You Rathers, I know you have a special shout out for us to make, Henry. So why don't you make it for us?
I always have a special shout out.
I am, Antonio. I'm very comfortable.
Very excited to give that special shout out that I've been very excited to give.
Oh,
this is like when you're writing an essay and need to have a word count and aren't hitting it.
It feels like just yesterday that Los Angeles was lifting basketball's most coveted prize.
Ew.
I know, gross. Like,
why are you? Yeah.
Because it's.
You don't have to read that.
Well, the Nuggets podcast still did, even though they didn't have to. And Harrison said because they like to kind of keep it. And so, it feels like just yesterday that the Denver Nuggets were. Oh wait, I'm not supposed to use team names. They always avoid that. That the Denver Nuggets were in the Western Conference Finals. Where are we going with this? Since then, we've introduced a new class of professional basketball players through the draft. Yep. I've seen a few marquee names switch teams.
Yep.
Luckily for us sports fans, DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is here to kick off the 2021 basketball season with a no-brainer for all customers, new and existing. If you haven't tried DraftKings Sportsbook yet, head to the App Store now because you don't want to miss this. To celebrate the return of basketball, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you a plus 75-point spread on the team of your choice on opening night. That's right. All you have to do is bet on any opening night game, and if your team doesn't lose by more than 75 points, you will double your money. This Saturday, there will be an endless amount of action to get in on, so don't wait. Head to the app now. DraftKings is safe, reliable, and secure, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. So download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code DNVR when you sign up to get a plus 75-point spread on opening night for a shot to double your money. That's code DNVR to get a shot at doubling your money on opening night for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Beautiful. Well done. That sounds like an amazing offer. Can't wait to jump in. Would you rather, Henry?
Wait, someone's saying that I was bullying Henry.
Oh.
Well, no. Instead of just saying like an apology or something like that, how about I just get a free bully, and I get to bully you back at some point?
I don't know. I don't like that.
I feel like that's the way it should go.
No, I think good for
we're
Allie.
DNVR AOLA. Let's talk about the Nugs.
LA is gross.
I'm in
put in the ad copy then.
Thanks, guys, in the comments. Max and
King.
Big
King. Is that for me
or Queen?
No, they're saying.
Are we sure?
Yeah,
probably Queen.
Queen of DNVR.
Very good. Very good.
That's some pretty good evidence.
Okay, Henry, would you rather's?
Oh, would you rather's? This is my time to shine.
It is. It is.
First one. Jonathan Taylor or Nick Chubb?
Oh, Nick Chubb looked good.
He did, but he's splitting touches.
He is. Well, we must go to the schedule.
Wow, it's that close.
Giants, Jets for Chubb, while JT has Houston, Pittsburgh. Oh. I'm going Nick Chubb. I am going Nick Chubb. Tough call, though. Tough call. You agree with me?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But watching what actually, no. I will go Jonathan Taylor.
Okay, we've got ourselves a bet.
We do have ourselves a bet. Most points, half-point PPR, rest
I'll
of the way.
keep track of that.
All
okay,
right.
Perfect.
David Montgomery or Antonio Gibson? Assuming Antonio Gibson's back.
Which probably isn't.
Yeah, I know.
Montgomery's looking way better with Trubisky.
I did.
Yeah, Montgomery, I think looking good.
I forgot to actually go back and check whether he was playing after I put these together. Let's go with would you take any wide receiver over Tyreek Hill? Because what he's been doing recently has been just otherworldly. You don't see numbers like this, and I'm pulling them up. Obviously, there was the high water mark last week when he led the entire league, or I guess that was 2 weeks ago now, where he put up 51.4 and a half-point PPR.
Yes.
But just listen to this stretch he's going through. 23.8, 28.6, 21.5, 51.4, 11.8, 24.6. He does have that one down week in there. Congrats to the Broncos on holding him to 58 yards. I mean, I think I might like him better than anybody else the rest of the way. New Orleans this week, maybe it's a little bit tougher of a test, but then to finish the season at Atlanta, he might be. This is a question for you.
That's a great point. The only guy I would take ahead of him the rest of the way would be Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Only one, though.
Yeah.
Because you're really right. DeAndre Hopkins, with the way that offense in Arizona is operating, right now. Obviously, anyone with the Saints, Michael Thomas, we were enamored.
Yep.
Preseason, that's not happening anymore. The Falcons guys have slowed down. That's not happening. Diggs has been great. Justin Jefferson, those guys have been great, but you wouldn't touch them. Devontae Adams is the only one where no one has the peaks Tyreek Hill can have, but Devontae Adams has similar highs and can be slightly more consistent.
Yeah.
So that's the only guy, but it's merely because the situation guarantees him more consistency. I think you're making a pretty solid point, and you're really right that is more of a conversation than most might think. I guess we could extend that to tight ends.
Yeah.
Where Darren Waller and Travis Kelce would factor into this. Like, as far as wide receivers or tight ends, is Tyreek Hill the top guy you would take?
Yeah.
Over Kelce and Waller, too?
It's a weird conversation. Like Kelce is tempting.
Yeah, because then the positional value you get into, like...
I will say that Waller doesn't do it for me at this point. He'd have that 32 just a week ago. But it's against the Jets.
No, you're right, and that is what concerns you about Waller, is that offense maybe slowing down a bit.
Yeah, I do.
They're kind of giving up, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, Jasicki is nowhere near this conversation, but I think that he's a good guy
He's
we're
playing
talking about
great.
for top tight
He's
end.
playing
But yeah, I think that Kelce is tempting just because you can find good receivers out there, and you're getting another 7 points per game if you have Kelce over whoever else. Are you getting 7 points more out of Tyreek Hill than whatever your other option at receiver is? I'm not so sure. So it depends on. Are you saying you still get a wide receiver one? Or are you saying I'm picking a receiver up off the waiver wire, a tight end up off the waiver wire? Because if you're going waiver wire as the alternative, then it is Kelce to me.
Should we bet Hill versus Adams?
Yeah. That is the right conversation. I mean, I'm 50-50, but I'll take whatever side you don't want.
Yeah, your love for the Packers.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Devontae
Adams.
Yeah, I am taking Devontae Adams. I don't know why. I put myself down for Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Let's go with it.
What else do you got?
Robbie Anderson or Stefan Diggs?
Is that really a question?
I mean, when you look at the numbers, they are very similar. I can pull some of those back up.
The last couple weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
But Diggs, generally speaking, over the course of the year has been way better, right? Well, let's check this out.
See, but that's the thing is that
Let's check this out.
you have Robbie Anderson playing some of the best that he's played all season after having that big down spell. But after, 5-6 weeks, Robbie Anderson was wide receiver 5 in fantasy. And he had, in the last 2 weeks, his second best week of the season and his fourth best. And so you can kind of see where this momentum's coming. Green Bay gives up a lot of points. That's his next opponent. Then you get Washington after him.
Yeah. Versus Denver and New England for Stefan Diggs the next 2 weeks, both on the road. Yeah, and you're right. We are seeing more of Cole Beasley. We are seeing more Dawson Knox touchdowns and stuff. Yeah, no, I see your point. And Anderson with Teddy Bridgewater, definitely a different level of production. The fact that it's even a conversation, I think, is the conversation. And again, these are playoff versions of Would You Rather. So these aren't like trades you're considering because kind of done with trades. These aren't waiver wire considerations, but they are fun debates and kind of fun ways to change your perception on certain guys. So yes, I would go Diggs, but I like that one better than I did at face value. I see a hand popping up for a question.
Carlos is asking his own Would You Rather.
Stream the 49ers or Washington? Or are there any other defenses that you think are better defenses that are commonly available? Do you know who they play off the top of your head?
I got it right here.
I'm told someone's going to have it for us.
Washington football team plays Seattle.
Washington plays Seattle. That's tough.
49ers play Dallas.
Niners play the Cowboys.
I like that better.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. I mean, yes, you would.
That is a very good pickup if you can do it.
Dallas and Arizona for San Francisco, Washington, and we really are just talking this week. Is Seattle and Carolina. Yeah, I mean, Miami's available. I picked up Chicago recently, who hasn't been the gangbusters they were earlier in the year, but they're not a bad pickup. Yeah, definitely Miami is nice. Definitely. I still believe in that Bears defense from a fantasy perspective, and they are at least still playing tough, which is nice. That Trubisky move has seemed to give them a little motivation.
Okay.
So, man, against my better judgment, I guess I'd go Niners, though on paper, I usually would lean Washington.
Is Trubisky? I think Trubisky's still undefeated on the season because they benched him when they were 5-0 or 6-0. Put in Foles and lost a bunch of games, and then brought him back and won again.
Pretty impressive.
Makes you think.
Chris Carson or Raheem Mostert, Brandon Ayuk or Calvin Ridley. Well, Mostert hurt. Jeff Wilson, one of the top pickups in fantasy this week because of that injury. Disaster for the Niners. Constant injuries in that backfield. It's a shame. Chris Carson, I guess.
Yep. I still get excited about Chris Carson.
If you can, I might pick up Jeff Wilson, period, because, again, Washington, that's not a great matchup. Brandon Ayuk or Calvin Ridley?
Chris Carson, I mean, he did just play the Jets, but 17.3 this week, 18.5 the week before, 12.9 before that. Since coming back from injury, he's getting the bulk of the touches, and I feel pretty good about him. Ayuk or Ridley? I think Ayuk is tempting, but I think you still have to go Ridley.
Yeah, we can't give up on Ridley like this. I mean, he's still having big weeks. Unfortunately, Julio Jones keeps being injured, but if you're a Ridley owner, it's kind of fortunate, and Ayuk's been nice. But yeah, Ayuk's in that KJ Hamler feast or famine category.
Yeah.
You need a big play from him. Hawkinson or Tunyon?
It's Tunyon, but I like that Hawkinson is in the conversation. You know, he's done some good things. I'm excited about him.
Yeah, and the Stafford injury stuff concerns you with
That's
Hawkinson.
true.
Rams defense or Colts defense?
I like the Rams at face value, but I don't know who they're playing.
Well, the Colts were, again, gangbusters for a minute there. Why won't this work for me? God Oh, here. I have all the matchups here.
Okay.
It's not that hard.
This is just a race.
Okay, here we go. Colts or Rams. We have the Rams taking on the Jets. Yeah.
Colts play Texans. Oh yeah, it's
Not
the
even
Rams
a
easy.
question.
Rams easy.
Not even a question, yes.
Let's see. Back to a couple of mine. So, how about Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Miles Sanders?
Miles Sanders all the way.
Ready to go?
Every day.
You ready to go with him?
I am ready to go.
Yeah. Couple down weeks from
CEH,
Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, not great. Not great. Love that the Chiefs are still invested. Love this format in general. But, Clyde Edwards, New Orleans next game. Don't love that.
That's true.
Atlanta after that. Yeah, better matchup, but they've been playing much tougher since that coach change.
True.
On defense, at least.
True. I agree. Let's see. Let's go to the receivers. Oh, here's a three-way one, just because I really didn't know how I'd order these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Nelson Aguilar, Juju Smith-Schuster, Mike Evans.
Wow, what a sneaky would you rather.
I know. Aguilar coming off 18.5 half-point PPR.
Yeah.
Couple single-digit games before that, 17.8.
Sure.
But he also has a 19. He has a 13 and a 12 and another 12. And so he has been one of these boomer bust guys. Maybe not like the biggest booms, but also like the busts, at least in the last few weeks, haven't been that bad either.
Well, the beauty is, again, it's a beauty from one perspective, terrible from another. Henry Ruggs went on COVID reserve list as of 30 minutes ago. So he's out for the Thursday game. That's huge for Aguilar, who really is, as you just illustrated with that production recently, stepping into that role as their kind of most reliable wide receiver. Love Juju, love Mike Evans, but oh man, Henry.
Yeah, it's
What are those matchups?
Oh boy, Juju has Cincinnati and Indianapolis. Mike Evans has Atlanta and Detroit, and
Okay.
Aguilar has the Chargers and the Dolphins.
Love the Chargers, hate the Dolphins. Oh, man, that might be a Juju lean then. That might be a Juju lean. And thank you, Max. Saw that. Appreciate you. He called you hen dog. Thoughts?
Hen dog.
Hen dog?
I mean, it's weird with two animals for sure.
Hen dog.
Like a hen dog sounds like a type of dog, kind of like a like they're the dogs that herd sheep. I'm not sure what the dog does to the hens, but like keeps them in the coop.
Don't want to find out.
I think you're
frankly.
overthinking this.
Don't want to find out, frankly.
Maybe. I've gotten H dog a lot.
H dog.
Not recently. It's been like years.
Hank isn't his name. He goes by Henry, but
I
we
have all
call him
sorts of
Hank a
names.
whole lot.
Yeah.
So I think we're sticking with that. Allie, do we have more questions? Henry, do we have more would you rathers? It's kind of a last chance saloon over here
Yeah.
for everyone involved. Listeners
Antonio
as well.
is just saying Hamler about to become a fantasy stud.
Yeah, no, Hamler's outstanding. Hamler's
But-
outstanding. And
I'm not taking him yet though. Next year.
don't look now. We talked up Jalen Hurts.
I love Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, we talked up Phillip
You know-
Rivers. Nice schedule. Baker Mayfield.
Henry,
nice
we
schedule.
don't. Your
Drew
love
Lock.
for Jalen Hurts is very known.
Drew
I
Lock.
know, but I
we don't
just
have to go
realized
more in
RK
detail.
just got here
Yep,
for bets.
He did.
The way that he feels about Kyler Murray is how I feel about Jalen Hurts.
Whoa.
Okay.
Like I've just been waiting and waiting and waiting. Yeah.
Wow.
Ryan,
Go back and watch
Ryan's
his draft
over
podcast.
here
I finally found
shook.
what the equivalent is. It's exactly that.
Ryan's
I
over
used
here.
to feel like that
shook.
once upon a time about Marcus Mariota.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that
How do you
was
feel
fun.
about him now?
Oh,
What's your honest assessment?
I am dead inside and can no longer get excited about anything because of that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, just because of that, or not? Not because
That's
of
what
other
did
things?
all this to you.
Just because of that. Yes.
Dre, you are the way you are because Marcus Mariota busted.
Antonio says that Henry,
Disappointment
he
was
is
around the
still
corner.
pissed at you for assuming the Broncos would lose to Kansas City by 50.
Wow. Well, I hope someday I make it up to you.
And then
told
Max
him
has
that
one
was-
last question.
I told him that was bad form.
Bet on the Broncos that night.
Can I trust
all-
Thielen?
And Antonio,
was
just so you
D-line.
know, he did bet on the Broncos that night. That is what
Which,
Ryan is saying.
I mean,
All it took was D-line saying, like, what if they win and Drew Lock looks nice? And then I got kind of fired up.
I don't want to say anything too strong, but true scum. True scum.
All right, Max has one
yes.
last question.
Yes.
Okay.
Can he trust Adam Thielen at all, Henry? At all.
You know,
Chicago, New Orleans, next two opponents.
don't
Hate it.
Yeah, honestly,
Hate
no.
it.
But don't put this on Adam Thielen. This is Kirk Cousins. It's the same thing with Justin Jefferson. This is who Kirk Cousins is. He's a boomer bust quarterback who booms 75% of the time instead of 50% of the time. And that's why he gets all the money he gets. But in terms of like his ability to just win a couple of games in a row and actually do something that matters, no. He's not going to do it. I mean, with these matchups, out on Thielen.
I mean, he's a toughie, Max, but we'll see. We'll play it out. Tune in for the Thursday audio only. We'll talk some Thielen. We'll talk some of the other juicy and scarier matchups leading in. We will also take more of your questions, have some games. As always, tune in to the DNVR Fantasy. Last question. Final question.
Tim Wenz is in here saying Henry grows a much better beard than his old man.
It's true.
Wow.
It's true.
Shots
It's-
on Dean.
Yeah.
Those
He
are
can't-
insights you cannot get anywhere else, truly.
Yeah, he just like grows more chins this time of year.
Also,
Just
A lot of people like have like the winter
Dean.
beard. Yeah.
shook.
I mean, I feel like
Shots
what am I supposed
fired.
to say?
That was below the belt. That was below the belt. Holiday season. Don't like to hear that. Don't like to hear that at all. At all. So there you go. Tim Wentz, any relation to Carson?
No,
Wenz.
that's not even spelled the same.
Yeah, it's not spelled the same.
Oh, well,
Although I
Jeez,
bet
I forgot to wear my glasses. That's true. It's Tim Wentz.
I can almost
Not-
guarantee you though
Facts,
that
all facts, and I'll make sure Diener hears it. Hank,
Good.
Beautiful,
Good.
beautiful. No better note
Yeah.
to end on than that one, frankly.
well, I had a nice little thing to say.
Oh no!
no,
Please,
never
please,
mind.
please, prove me
Well, I
wrong.
was just gonna say that there's a good chance Tim Wentz was in the stadium when the Montana Grizzlies beat Carson Wentz.
Okay.
And because Carson Wentz is kind of a piece of garbage, but yeah, there.
Say
That's
bye,
a little bit better.
guys.
Shouts
Bye, guys.
to you, Carson. Yeah, subscribe to the podcast, DNVR Fantasy, and give us a nice review. Bye.
Oh, you're still on the screen.
We're still live. Guys.